Welcome to Letters from America, a road trip podcast searching for the Swedish footprint in the United States. I have parked the Volvo in Medusa, right?
Yes.
And with me in the Airstream is Matthew Olson. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Your family history goes back to 1889, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So my great-great-grandfather, David Olson, he came to the United States the first time in 1886. I have no idea what he did while he was here.
You mean like he went back and forth?
So he came the first time, in 1986 by himself. He went back to Sweden, to Sandhem, which is where my family, the Olson side of the family originates. The other side of the family is also Swedish, but I don't have as much history. I haven't been able to find as much information in the research from that side of the family. But then he went back and brought his sweetheart with him. They weren't married in Sandhem. They came over unmarried, and they were married in New York. Based on research and documents that I've seen, they went to Augusta Adolphus Church in Manhattan, which I've actually visited.
Because it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, it's not a Swedish church anymore.
No.
But it's still there. It's still Lutheran. So there's connection to that church there, and I believe that's where they were married, actually. And then they lived in Maspeth, Queens, which is one of the boroughs of New York City, for 20 plus years before they moved to the farm here in 1922.
Okay, so they just changed a lifestyle from living in the city in a way, because Queens at that time was a city.
It was the city. I mean, it's not as
much as it is today.
It was a little bit more rural, because I've actually seen a photo of them in their backyard in Queens, and there's like chickens in the backyard.
Oh yeah, so but it's still
the city.
It's still the city, so you still have the New York City area around it. So did you, after 20 years, it just changed lifestyle in a way? Yeah.
So going from a rural village in Sweden to the city was a huge change, and then in 1922, when they bought the farm, then sort of going back to a rural environment, I think it was sort of an opportunity for them to get back to sort of the landscape that they grew up in. Yeah,
like a comfort thing, to find something, going back to your roots without going back to Sweden. Yeah.
And David grew up on a farm, so they bought the farm, and it was a dairy farm when they bought it. And it's been in the family. I'm the fifth generation to live here.
And you still have the farm in a way.
Yeah, we still have. I mean, I have goats and chickens, but
it has changed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was a dairy farm, and so my mother grew up on the dairy farm, and then before I was born, they sold the dairy, and then it was just beef cows, and then by the time I was born, it was mostly just cut for hay to sell it to other farms.
Yeah. And then you just took over.
Yeah, so I moved back here about 7 years ago to help take care of my grandmother. She was in her 90s when I moved back, or late 80s when I moved back. And then as part of being here, I got chickens, and then I got goats, and sort of.
Yeah, because you got goats.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got connected early on in this project, and I was intrigued because you mentioned Sandhem, and for me that's just next door in a way, because I am born and raised like 20 minutes, 30 minutes car ride from there. I know the area, I know the village where they come up, and you mentioned that that your family came from that, and I thought that I was going to keep that as a secret all the way to the recording, but I couldn't.
Because I followed along your other interviews and got a hint that you were...
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't do that, but that's very interesting. Have you ever been back there? Have you been in that area?
Yeah, so the really interesting part for me is that, so here these people come and settle from Sweden. There were some other friends that actually had also come from Sandhem and settled in the New York City area. And then other Swedish families that I think they met through through church or just the Swedish immigrant community there. And so David, my great-great-grandfather, and Anna, who they were both from Sandhem, they had two sons. They had three sons, but two of them actually married two other Swedish immigrant daughters, first generation Swedes. So two Olson brothers married two Bergwall sisters.
How convenient.
Yeah. And so they all sort of moved up here kind of around the same time and sort of kept the community, but going back to their rural roots, I think. And it's interesting because they never taught their children how to speak Swedish.
No.
I mean, certain words, foods and, certain things related to, Swedish customs, but they were not fluent in Swedish. So, as now I'm fifth generation, that wasn't passed down, unfortunately. I wish I could speak fluent Swedish, but, and we had little bits and pieces of traditions and things that came with them, but they did not really talk about where they came from or their family members. We had no connection anymore after two generations to any family member still in Sweden. And so I started doing research primarily through ancestry and building my family tree. And
this sort of started with you.
Yes. Yeah. So as far as I knew, it was just David and Anna were the ones that came over. Had no idea, didn't really know, maybe had a name of a parent. Yeah. But certainly not siblings or anything. So I started plugging in the names into Ancestry.com, and it's very good at giving you hints and sort of finding records. And so it started to build my family tree. Yeah. And so I got more and more names and more people connected. And in 2003, I did a study abroad in Denmark. Yeah. And ahead of my trip, I decided I'm so close, I'm not going to not go to Sweden. No. And so I was able to get to Sandhem. It was kind of...
At that time, you knew that's where they were
I knew that's where they were coming from, yeah. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything else. And, we were sort of, when you're getting into family genealogy and you talk about looking for family members in Sweden, they always talk about you have to go and look at the church records because... Yeah. All the Swedes their records are in the
and they're old. Yeah. The church books are old. Yeah.
So I had taken the train to Jönköping. Yeah. And I did not realize it was a bank holiday. So I could not get the train from Jönköping to Sandhem.
Yeah. Because that's small, like a commuter train.
Yeah. It was very restricted that day of how many trains were going. So I actually, now that I remember, I was able to get the train to Myrkö. My cousins laugh at me because I cannot pronounce. I also think it's funny that.
Well, I'm not laughing. Yeah. I'm here trying to speak English.
You're helping me. Yeah, but I also think it's interesting that one of the hardest words to say in Swedish is one of the most important words that you would need to know if you were a tourist who doesn't speak Swedish in Sweden.
Which is?
Sjukhus.
Sjukhus.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hospital. That's hospital.
I need to go to the hospital. And it's like
the hospital, yeah.
One of the hardest words to pronounce.
I never thought of that.
For an English-speaking person. Yeah. But so I was able to get to Myrkö. Thank you. And
which is just close, like Jönköping, and then it's up there.
Yeah, it's in between Jönköping and Sandhem. And I went there was like a little shop there or whatever, close to the train station. And I was like, are there any taxis? Like, cause it's not far, but it's not close. If you have a limited amount of time, it would be nice to get a taxi or something to take you there. So I was planning to go to the church in Sandhem. And no, there was no taxis because it was the holiday and they didn't want to. And I'm in Mjölnir. So I was like, I guess I'm walking because I'm this close. I'm going to walk. I have no other option. Yeah. So I started walking, and there's a little gas station just outside of Mjölnir. Yeah. And this family stopped me at the gas station. They were in the store, and they overheard me talking to the shopkeeper. And they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a ride. Yeah. We'll take you to Sandhem. We'll drop you off." Because they wanted me to speak English to their 7-year-old kid in the back seat.
Yeah.
they wanted him to practice his English with me.
Swedish parents love that.
Yeah. He was so shy and nervous. He didn't say
You're a big fellow.
He didn't say a single word to me the whole time. But so they dropped me off at the church.
Yeah.
And I knew I had at least one train that was going to take me.
Big American sitting in the back seat talking
of their Volvo, of course.
Oh, what a sight!
Yeah. And I think I no, because I would have left my backpack and everything at the hotel in Jönköping. Yeah. So I knew I had one train that would take me back. So I had like basically most of the day, and my plan was to go to the church, go to the church records, and try to find family members.
That's very optimistic.
Of course, it was a bank holiday, so the church office was closed.
Yeah.
So the church was open, so I got to go in. So that was kind of, it was really interesting, and I'm not sure how to describe the feeling, but being in Sweden after so long, growing up, always hearing about it, hearing about the traditions and having connections, because we still celebrated Christmas. We had the Smörgåsbord and all the foods and everything, and so
how was that? Really, if we stop there for a minute, you're reaching the church, you're stepping in. The office is obviously closed, but the church is open because it's a holiday, and there's a silence in all the churches that just strikes you, and that silence is usually a trigger for what happens in your heart.
It was very profound, I guess, just being in that space and thinking about the fact that this is where my family came from.
And they probably went to the church.
Yes. And like there's the baptismal fount or whatever that's there, and thinking about, my great-great-grandfather may have, was baptized.
Most
here.
likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was the church.
The only church. Yeah, in Sandhem. And so then I just went and just started walking around the tiny little village of Sandhem. Yeah. And there was a few people out in the park. I think there was like a little dog show or something going on. I went to the little store to get some, some bread and cheese, and I'm just walking around.
I need to address because you're like 6.5 feet.
Yeah.
You're a big fellow.
Yeah.
And you're American.
Yeah.
And you're walking around.
But I'm in Sweden. People are tall in Sweden.
Yeah, but also you're
compared to the U.S., there are a lot more tall people in Sweden.
But you're a big American walking around in a small village, and they've never seen you before.
Correct.
There must have been some eyebrows.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
You're fine. And I don't know why I didn't just get up the courage. Maybe it was because of the language barrier. I mean, even though a lot of Swedes obviously speak English. Yeah. But I don't know why. Like looking back at it, I wish that I had just walked up to someone and been like, "Hey, do you know anyone related with this last name or anybody?" And I don't think I wouldn't have been successful probably because
it's hard to tell.
The cousins all have different names now, and it's so. But just being there was really an experience.
All of my guests are special, but you are a little bit extra special because all the villages and all the trains and all the roads and the gas stations that you mentioned, I know about them because I've spent a lot of time in that area. Yeah. I haven't lived in Jönköping or Huskvarna or anything like that, but my father was born in Huskvarna, which makes this, this conversation that we're having kind of weird in a way because you're talking about discovering something that
you've known your whole life.
Yeah, basically. And that it feels like I know by heart also, and that's just like two worlds colliding here in the middle of New York State.
So fast forward 10 years after going to Sweden and having my experience of being in the place where my family came from.
Your first experience.
My first experience. I got a message on Ancestry.com from someone in Sweden named Rebecca Hagman. Mm-hmm. And she tells me, I've just been working on my family tree, and I think we might be related.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just kind of like, okay, this is crazy, kind of odd.
Yeah.
Like, how did she, figure this out? But again, Ancestry, makes all these hints and these connections for you. And so I was a little skeptical at first. I was just like, Olson, there's a lot of Olsons. Yeah. Well, she sent me a photo, and it was a picture of my great-great-grandfather, David.
Oh, that you knew?
Yes. Yeah. And his son, Einar, with a team of horses in front of the house I live in right now. And this is this is the photo.
So we have a black and white photo with two persons. One of them is your great-great-grandfather. 2 horses, and there's a white house in the background.
Yeah. And that's the house I live in now that's here on the farm.
And she had this photo.
She had the photo and sent me a scanned copy of it.
But how did she get the photo from?
So there is a little bit of an inscription on the back.
Yeah.
That sort of says who's in the photo.
But how did she get that photo?
So they must have still been communicating.
They sent it maybe
Yes,
as a greeting or something.
Exactly. They would have sent it back. And subsequently, I've also found out that one of David's sisters...
So she sent this to you?
Well, so this was 10 years after I was there.
Yeah.
We made a connection on Ancestry.
And you were now in America.
And
here.
now, yes.
You're here.
And they're there.
Yeah.
In Sandhem. So we've, continued to talk and get to know sort of the family connections. And then 10 years after that, so in 2023.
Quite recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
20 years after I was there the first time.
Yeah.
I flew back to Sweden.
To this lady?
To meet the family that I have now connected with.
So you established, not only through this photo, but through the...
just talking on...
the records and...
Yes.
You are related.
Yes.
So this is not a coincidence that they got the photo.
I mean, it's a coincidence that they had it, and
it's
it was the house that I live in now.
But I mean, they sent it to the family back home.
Yeah. To me, this was proof that we were related.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've done. I have pages that I printed out of the full family tree from Ancestry.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like when you go on Ancestry.
Yeah. So it has all the different relationships and the generations.
So you're showing me really like a diagram. Can you say that? Like a family tree.
Yeah, family tree, exactly. Yeah. It's laid out like a family tree. But this is my great-great-grandfather, David.
Yeah.
And he's married Anna. And by connecting with Rebecca on Ancestry, I've discovered he had all these other siblings.
Oh, wow. Big family at that time.
Which to me is very interesting that they didn't really pass on that information or those relationships to their kids.
But at the same time, if we're about to be detectives now and speculate, the photo that you showed me is taken outside the house.
Yes.
So that could be, we moved here now.
And my grandmother actually suspected that the reason they didn't teach their children Swedish was kind of because we're American now. We're in the United States.
Yeah.
We need to sort of assimilate and, even
that is actually something that I come across throughout this journey. And people have told me that it's a very Swedish trait in this context, because other cultures that came here it was very important for them to keep the language. But the opposite happened to Swedes that came here. It was very important for them to assimilate and leave, we can only speculate why, but one theory is that they left for other reasons and they didn't want to remember. They wanted to start something new. That's a theory.
But it's also interesting to me that there's a dichotomy there, because they were still staying in Swedish friend groups and community and in their churches, Swedish churches.
But you want the traditions and you want the familiarities.
So I think maybe because it's a little bit different between the day to day versus holding on to the foods and so maybe because it was the day to day, because I think I heard stories that they still spoke Swedish at home, usually when they didn't want the kids to know what they were talking about.
That's the best trick.
So it wasn't that they stopped speaking it altogether, but they didn't teach their children the Swedish language. But I don't,
In a way, that's a very Swedish way of thinking. We're here now, pragmatic. You better adapt, otherwise you won't make it. So you're going to speak English. Related to that family that picked you up at the gas station, that were trying to teach the kid English because you need to, handle yourself out there in the world. You can't speak Swedish all the time.
Yeah. Sort of a side story related to connections with family in Sweden. Before Rebecca and I connected, I heard a story from my grandmother who told me that at one point my great-grandmother, Eveline, got a phone call from a woman who said she was related. She was from Sweden and she was studying at school, at university in the United States, I think in New York City area. And she wanted to come and meet the family. And my great-grandmother was like, no, that's, why would you do that? That's expensive. You're going to have to spend all that money to come up here and spend the time to come up here. Why would you take the time to do that?
Yeah.
And it was so funny because when I connected to my family in Sweden and I was like, I was thinking about coming to visit. They're like, oh yes, come. Like, it was not, they encouraged me and wanted me to come. They wanted to meet me. And so it's just interesting that, here we were so close to reestablishing a connection with someone who we were, related to somehow, who was only 3.5 hours away. And my great-grandmother basically told her not to come.
But don't you think that's a difference? Because she knew why they left in a way. There's a different mentality. And now you're meeting people in your life, you're the same generations in a way, that are looking for the roots. And, I never met your grandmother. I don't know. Yeah. But, and you should be careful in speculating. But they left. Why should they reconnect in a way?
Yeah. For her, it was like, why would you spend the money for that? We're never going to see you again. Why would you,
exactly.
Why would you go through all this effort? It's not necessary. They were, again, very pragmatic.
Yeah. Especially that generation. It's very unnecessary to do things outside the norm in a way.
Yeah.
But you brought more things with you.
Yeah. So
this is the map sort of the family.
Of the family tree. So, discovered the connection.
Yeah.
I went back to...
I love this, by the way. All the things that you brought, I love it.
All the show and tell. Yeah. I went back to Sandhem.
Yeah.
Met the cousins, the extended family. So they descend from Maria, who was...
So you established that now.
Yes,
you know that.
Yes, I know where they fit in to the family line.
And Maria is the siblings.
Yes, was David's sister. Yeah,
I can see that on the line.
Exactly.
Here. Yeah.
There was also, it was interesting because I think I was mentioning to you before that 2 Olson brothers, David's sons, married 2 Bergwall sisters. Yeah. Well, I also found out that 2 of David's sisters, Eva Paulina and Olga, married 2 Lindstrom brothers.
It's convenient.
Yes. Who I was told...
You know what you're going to get if you do that.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, the Lindstrom brothers started a bicycle company. And they started manufacturing bicycles. I've been told by my cousin in Sweden that it was the original bicycle manufacturing company that then formed with another company, which became now today Scania Trucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've done some research to try to look up the history.
So that started out as a mechanical bicycle and then moved on to engines.
Yeah. So there was consolidation of different companies. And if you look at the history, it does mention that there was a precursor, and it does talk about it being a bicycle factory. But what I've been researching, I can't find any connection to the Lindstrom name.
No.
But that's what I've been told. So.
Well, we're talking...
That could just be family lore.
It could be family lore, but we're talking about footprints now, and that's a good footprint. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that discovering all the different people. So, as part of the investigation, even before I connected with Rebecca, we had a big photo album that had tons and tons of these really old, I don't think it's not tintype, but.
These are 2 portraits that you're showing me.
Yes.
Of 2 women?
2 women, yep. Yeah. One of them who actually is Maria.
Oh, wow.
And I believe one of these this might be Augusta, actually, if I remember correctly. But so these are
originals?
Yes. These were taken in Jönköping. Photography Atelier Thur Äppelblad.
Ture Appelblad.
Ture. So that's the person's name, or that's the name
surname? No, the surname is Ture is the name, and Appelblad is the apple leaf. Yeah.
But from Västra Strogatan in Jönköping.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So a whole giant photo album of all these pictures.
So you got loads of these.
Oh yeah. I did not bring them all to show and tell.
Okay.
But we had them and had no idea who they were.
Now you know.
And now, after going back and visiting, they actually have these framed on their wall.
Have you showed them to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, you brought them over to Sweden.
I've sent pictures, but we were able to connect and be like, oh no, that's Maria. That's because they have them. They have bigger versions of these hanging in.
So you got like a partner over there now, the investigating partner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Rebecca was my sort of the person on the investigator on the other side. So I went back and met that line, because that's just one of the siblings. Yeah. Met that line of the cousins, got to go to the original farm, which was Hilta.
Which is outside Sandhem.
Yes, just south of Sandhem. And it actually was funny because when I was looking to go back to stay, to visit them, I was looking for a place to stay at first. They were very gracious and let me, please come stay with us. But I found the original farmhouse. I think they sent me a photo of it or something. And so I was doing this all electronically. And I went online. It's an Airbnb now.
Oh, really?
So I wanted to try to see if I could rent it.
Yeah, of course.
To stay there. But it was somebody had already booked it for the time that I was there. So I was not able to...
Next time. Yeah.
So I have a plan on my 50th birthday.
Yeah.
I want to go to Sweden, rent the original farmhouse, and bring all my friends because it's like, 10 rooms or something like that.
Let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah. And that, I think, I mentioned the experience of going to and being in the church.
Yeah.
So as a family, as a group of the cousins, we went, they got permission from the current owners because they know the current owners for us to walk around the property. When I was there visiting, and we had fika on the patio and everything. And just even being there was also another profound experience of being like, this is where my grandfather was born. Like my great-great-grandfather was born here. Like this is really where like the church.
Did you take that in when you were there?
Oh,
or did you just let that fall in a little bit? I'm mixing, because you're talking about Sweden now, so I'm mixing Swedish, and I heard myself say Swedish words. But what I was going to say, could you take that in at that moment when you were there?
Definitely. It was definitely very...
Because that could be hard to just be that conscious when you're there, that I need to take this in now because I'm here now.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice because we had a whole afternoon of walking around together. And even like my younger cousins, like they had not spent a lot of time there either. So it was almost kind of like the whole family went together. And interestingly, I found out too that so Ingmar and his brother and his two sisters, they don't live very far from each other. Like one lives in Falköping. Another one lives actually closer to Hilta than they do to Sandhem. But they don't get together. They have their own families now, so they don't, do a lot of gatherings. So even by my coming, it was made sort of a big event for the family. So everyone got together. Yeah. Everyone was excited.
That's nice.
So we spent a whole afternoon walking around the original farm and looking at different things. So you were
like the lost son in a way.
Yes,
back.
Exactly.
We got an American here now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's nice.
And my cousin Ingmar was so excited when I got, because it felt like it was his son, like his prodigal son returning type of thing.
The deepest respect for that. That's a very nice experience.
So fast forward from that experience, like 2 years, I went and had Christmas with them.
You're going back and forth to Sweden.
Yeah.
Wow.
So one of my gifts was another photo. And
this is showing a family photo now.
Yes, this is
a framed photo. People sitting on a staircase.
So this is Hilta, the original house where my great-great-grandfather was born.
Wow.
And so Ingmar, Anna Christina, and Marita, and then Rebecca.
That's the partner in crime.
Yes, Rebecca.
The detective.
Maria and Martin are the children of Ingmar.
Ah, yeah. Wow.
So they gave this to me for Christmas when I went back as one of my Christmas gifts. So,
what do you feel when you look at that? What is that? Do you feel the relation?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels very natural.
Do you have like cousins and things here in America that you have connected to also? Or is this sort of your throwback to this? I'm finding a family now that is outside the closest family.
No, we do have extended cousins here. So we still have on Christmas Eve here at the farm, all the cousins.
What do they think about this?
They think it's great.
Yeah.
We've actually FaceTimed.
Oh yeah.
At Christmas, on Yule often.
Yeah.
And one of the traditions that we do in our family is we always sing Christmas carols in
Swedish.
No, in English.
Okay.
But somebody plays the piano and then we all sing. So we've FaceTimed and we were singing and showing everybody, and we because we do have so many cousins, to give everyone a gift is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So we do. So there's a thing called a white elephant party.
Never heard of that. What is that? White elephant party.
Yeah. So sometimes people will do it at their their office at work, or different groups. So it's the idea that like a white elephant is not always the gift that it seems to be. There's like some kind of like if you get the white elephant, it's like sacred, but you can't like get rid of it or something. It's a lot to take care of. I don't remember the whole thing, but so there's this.
Okay, it's like one of those presents that you really don't want, but you have to take it.
Exactly, yes.
And then you move it on for the next.
Exactly. So you have a number and somebody picks it and you open it and you're like, why do I want
like an ugly lamp?
Exactly, or a candle.
I like that, and then you have to keep it. I think I have friends who do that. Then they have to keep it out for the entire year.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah,
to keep it for
so they give a like an ugly thing or something that nobody would ever buy.
I like the idea you have to keep it out.
And you have to keep it out for a year until you can give it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we call it the Svenska swap.
Okay.
So that's what we do. Yeah. So we have a Smörgåsbord, julbord, and
I know that you present yourself before this recording or this session as a Swedophile. Yeah. Have you always been interested? What
I would say always.
Yeah.
I would say always. So my grandfather, my mother's father, he's of German, English, Irish descent, but pre-U.S. Civil War. But because the Swedish side of the family is so much more recent, and my grandmother being 100% Swedish, the traditions were always there growing up. So all my, in my entire life, we would always come to my grandmother's on Christmas Eve.
The Swedish part has been there.
For the Smörgåsbord and everything. And so, and I used to help my great aunt like get all the foods ready and all this. So it just kind of became a custom and tradition for me that I really enjoyed. But you're right. As I've gotten older and, can afford my own things.
Yeah. It's easier maybe to do it when you're you're the master of your own life in a way.
Exactly. So I have things that are connected to my family specifically. But like if I go to an antique store somewhere, like, eBay, all different places, anything Swedish.
What's your favorite Swedish thing?
I have probably 25 or so Dala Horses.
Originals or?
Yes.
Bought in Sweden, I mean.
Some that were my grandmother, that were family, that have been in the family. They were always around growing up, but I've added to the collection. I've inherited the collection and I've added to it. Some that I've purchased in Sweden myself, some that I've purchased just at older ones that I found at antique stores here in the United States.
From your perspective, then, can we as Swedes, what can you teach us from your perspective, looking at Swedes? What could we, what are we missing in our own heritage? Do you think? What's our blind side in the Swedish?
Well, I don't know if it'd be a good thing though, because I say you could become hoarders, like and collectors. It's because we have the thing over here. Everyone talks about Swedish death cleaning.
Oh yeah.
And in the U.S., it's like, oh, you need to be like the Swedes and Swedish death cleanings. Americans, like, we just hoard and keep everything and collect everything. And I find that Swedes definitely don't seem to hang on to impractical things too much.
No, and I think, when something becomes normal, you don't think about it. But I think the word pragmatic sounds so official in a way. Okay. But I think we would like to be effective. And like your great-grandmother said, why should you come up here? That's not it's not practical. Yeah. Why would you spend money on going here? There's no use, Yeah.
Well, like my cousin Ingmar, he worked in the lumber industry. So he has a collection of like old Husqvarna chainsaws that are like that he goes and still tinkers with, and they all still run.
I got friends like that,
But you go into the house and it's very minimalist. Yeah, there's not a lot of clutter.
But
not a lot of things.
For him, I can see that as a hobby.
Yeah,
I got friends who collect like mopeds. We call them mopeds, like and bicycles and things like that.
So maybe. But I think.
Yes, I was asking something that you see. You're blind to this. You're blind to this quality. You're blind to this thing. You should be more proud of this, or something more like that. I was looking for something there. Maybe you can share something, a different perspective on being a Swede.
I don't know if I can answer that properly because I'm such a Svenskophile that everything Swedish is good to me. I love IKEA.
Yeah, but we do too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've like
any Swedes that tell you.
But like, I'm crazy because I've been to IKEA in Iceland. I've been to IKEA in Denmark. I've been to IKEA. I went to the.
That's a bit extreme.
I stayed at the IKEA hotel in Almhut. I've been to the IKEA museum. I've been to like 10 IKEAs in the United States. Like if I travel somewhere and there's an IKEA that I haven't been to yet, I go there.
Okay, that's a bit extreme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
maybe I should get you some advice to be more American.
I don't have a Swedish tattoo yet, though. I have one that's kind of inspired by sort of Sami indigenous art, but it's not actually like.
You don't have the 3 crowns.
I do not. I've thought of. I have a cousin here in the U.S. that does have the 3 crowns.
Yeah, I met a couple.
I actually know someone who. Oh no, but he's in Sweden. He has the old Husqvarna logo on his arm.
Made in Sweden is also.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to show me before we move on? No?
Oh, well, this was also given to me when I visited in Sweden.
Is it a Bible or
It is a Bible. It's
a pocket book. A
New
pocket
Testament
Bible.
and Psalm book.
Okay.
But this was
A pocket book.
belonged to Augusta, who was David's sister. And it has Hilda written in here. 1861.
I think they kept this quite close to their chest.
Yeah.
As a comfort.
So we haven't talked about yet a little bit. So David's father was Carl. And most of his siblings, or at least even in ancestry and what I've been told, all kept the name Carlson or Carl's daughter. Right around that time in that generation was when Swedes sort of stopped taking their father's first name as their surname. And
kept it as a family name instead.
Yes, exactly. And I've always seen Augusta Carl's daughter. But in this book from 1861, she has written, or someone who gave it to her has written Augusta Olson.
Oh.
So I thought that was interesting. It's the first time I've seen anyone else besides David with Olson as their family name.
I can't say that I have a huge collection, but you talked about collections of chainsaws. I got collections of these old Bibles and psalm books. I like that. This is just amazing. The work of doing something like this is just amazing.
Oh, this makes sense. North America on the 1st of January, 1888. So
that's when they came.
That's when they came.
Oh.
So I wonder,
wow.
Augusta may have also come the same time when her brother and his wife Maria came.
That is a really interesting note. I love it. I could talk about this for hours. We are up here. We got New York marked on the map, and we're a little bit up here in New York State. That's approximately where we are.
Yeah, we call it Upstate New York.
Upstate. What did I say?
You said Upstate, but we officially we're not physically located Upstate.
It's called Upstate.
Also call it Upstate New York. Yeah,
I'm learning.
Anything north of Westchester and Putnam counties
is Upstate New York.
It's considered Upstate New York.
Okay.
Versus being in New York City, basically, or being downstate in the city. Yeah.
And the family that you're talking about is in the southern part of Sweden. It's south of Stockholm and a little bit east of Gothenburg, if we're going to pinpoint it. You got a big lake and another big lake. So it's between the big lakes.
Between Vättern and
Vänern.
Yeah. Close to Jönköping.
And you are born and raised up here where we are right now. And you visited Sweden and you've seen the family home where it all started, right?
Yeah. Where
is home to you?
Well, New York is home.
In your heart?
Yeah, New York will always be home. Okay. Even though I've lived in other places.
If I move around a little bit, maybe because it's getting a little bit cramped, so I'm going to make a line up to that blue area. Could I get your signature up there? So if you were to write a letter from here, home, back to where your family came from, what would that be? What would you say?
So does it have to be like to my family now, or can it be like as if I was writing to my family?
It's up to you.
Yeah. So not that long ago, I was actually in New York City, and I was going over the bridge to Staten Island, and it basically goes over the New York harbor. So any ships that would have been coming in from anywhere else would have had to gone under that bridge. Well, if the bridge was there or not, but they would have had to gone through that part
through that passage.
Exactly. And I could see the Statue of Liberty off to the side.
Ellis Island.
Yeah. And I just like, even then, how I talked about all these sort of like profound moments that I had going to the church, going to the family home. And I just looked up there and it just like dawned on me. I was like, this would have been the same thing that they would have seen the first time that they would have come to America, to New York on this ship after they've been traveling from little Sandhem. And just thinking about what would they have been thinking. I wish I could ask them, write to them and ask them, why did you decide to come? What was your motivation for coming? What were you thinking? Were you nervous? Were you excited? David came first by himself, so he experienced that. But then he went back and brought Anna with him.
We can assume that his experience was good.
Yes,
otherwise,
exactly.
He wouldn't.
So then he went back.
But good enough, at least.
And somebody brought her back with him and convinced her to come. Now maybe he set some things up for them so they would have be more comfortable when they got here. So he's experienced it once, and now she's experiencing it for the first time with him. And so I wish I could communicate with them and ask them
and the tales that he told her while they were sailing across.
What were you? Were you looking for land of opportunity? Were you leaving something? What was it that made you decide to come here?
So you basically just want to see if you can ask them.
Yeah.
You can use one of my postcards.
Okay.
And we can try to send it. I'm going to give you postcards. Matthew, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We can go on, and I would love to see all the stuff that you got, but everything has to end also. Yeah. It was a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Tack så mycket.
Tack så mycket. I'm going to teach you some Swedish expressions now.
Okay.
So
something about the blue cabinet.
The blue cabinet. Yeah, that's one that people think is... But it makes sense. Also, it's one of those things that makes sense. We're not going to take that now. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Okay. Hej då.
Hej då.
You have listened to Letters from America, a weekly road trip podcast celebrating the Swedish heritage in the United States. Produced in collaboration with the Embassy of Sweden in Washington, D.C., Volvo Cars USA, Volvo Trucks USA, and Airstream.